What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down, what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is down 0.67%. So it was doing very well. It was the only green stock in my watch list, and yeah, it had a high so far of $4.68, low of $4.39. So it was kicking actual ass. Pre-market though wasn't really showing us that, but of course once the market does open, a lot of calls were purchased, so of course people could benefit from the upside. But a lot of that does stem from the recent data that did come out from China, which has been fairly good, in addition to a lot of statements that have been made by NIO's management, them reconfirming March's numbers for Onvo. A lot of this I already went over in my video yesterday, so I'm not gonna go over all that, but ultimately cost cutting measures, that's what they're kind of focusing on. This is why they're clearly slowing the expansion as well, and that's kind of the only thing that really came out today. So NIO accelerates cost cutting measures, local media reports. So doesn't actually state any layoffs, but I feel like that is going to be the next thing that does kind of plague the market, is a lot of companies stating that they are going to start and prompt layoffs. So usually that's kind of a good thing. At least it cuts off some of the fat. In some cases, depends on, again, if they've done previous layoffs, that might be seen as more of a negative. But I think in NIO's case, what they have been doing has been fairly good. Just the broader market absolutely is garbage today. So it's definitely pulling NIO down with it. But aside from that though, 219,000 shares are being returned by shorts. So definitely that's kind of an interesting thing. A lot of other heavily shorted stocks and EVs, they are getting hit a lot more by shorts. So again, I see this somewhat as optimistic. 14.45% of the free float is being shorted, works to be 192.97 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow minimum is negative, so that does mean that there is a broker out there physically paying people to short NIO. So it's just unfortunate. I know I've brought this up in the past, but every single time NIO does start to gain any little bit of momentum, it just gets hit by something. And usually it's not actually specific to NIO, it's just tariff talk, fear of recessions. There's just a lot of just random stuff that seems to just coincide with NIO really showing signs that it wants to move higher. So it is just a very unfortunate type of scenario. But when it comes down to options, so 5.07 million in calls, 2.28 in puts, 48% of all the options being done are bearish in nature, but you are seeing a little bit of a nice uptick in the volume. So far 8.1 million, roughly 1 hour left in the trading day. On a side note, put/call ratios definitely very good. So insinuating there's a little bit still more upside planned, but yesterday was 6.5, the day prior 4.9. Of the options that are being done today, there's a consensus for it to be above 550. It's hard to distinguish whether that was done in the first half of the trading day or the second half, because I feel like the sentiment is different here versus here, but still 550 is where it is somewhat planned. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 4 to 450 for the most part. So yeah, again, I think that there is still a lot more upside based on all that. Just market needs to get their crap together. A lot of just issues, geopolitical issues across the board, Canada, States, China, everyone and their dog doesn't seem to be getting along whatsoever. So it's not a good scenario. When it comes down to the dark pool though, very popular today for NIO. So a lot of these transactions did occur at the beginning part. So of course, this is where shorts and other big entities do kind of hide a lot of their transactions, unfortunately. But right now with it at $4.43, trading between this pivot and this S1, $4.18 is a strong support, $4.60 is the next strong target / resistance, and it did actually break above that today, just didn't really have enough to essentially stay there. So going forward into the next couple of trading days, 460 is going to be the next strong target, but I think today was NIO's one and only opportunity to really push higher and gain from a lot of the momentum, macro data, and also what's been coming out from the company itself. Odd thing about NIO is that their earnings still has not been announced, so that might be the next potential catalyst to really have it retest this pivot point of $4.60. On the actual chart though, it is still above the 50-day moving average, so that is sitting at $4.35. And then you have the ALMA right now at $4.34. So like I said, NIO was showing pretty much all the signs that it was ready to break out, just no different than what happened right here on February the 27th. Almost every single time it ever tries to break out above key levels, it just gets dragged down. Sometimes just NIO, not enough buyers, but most of the time it is just the environment, the actual market just brings NIO down. So I don't know, do with that information what you will. Maybe just NIO is like destined just for a massive pullback, reset. I'm not really sure, but it is definitely very frustrating. So let me know your general thoughts on NIO. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What's your viewpoint on this news about them kind of cutting the expansion and also cutting on like costs and unnecessary expenses? Do you think that's a good thing, or should have been done a long time ago? Again, sometimes companies fail to read the room or the environment that they are trying to expand to. They have higher expectations than what actually is achievable, and I think NIO does kind of fit into that criteria. Whether they hit their March numbers or not, the fact that they did recently reiterate that does mean that they really need to hit it. If not, then the market is going to absolutely like massacre them. So let me know your general thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. And given the amount of blood in the market, definitely it's worthwhile to kind of take a look at some of the buy signals. A lot of them have already started to move up higher. So definitely worthwhile to take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.